Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bird Talk Show. It's episode 13. It's going to be a great episode. We've got back with us for the second live stream in a row because one show just wasn't enough for this special guest. We're very happy to have with us Ashby Gale. Let's bring Ashby on up into the studio. There he is, Mr. Ashby Gale. How are you today, sir?
A fossil hay from CFA. How's it going, Rack?
Fantastic. I was just over in a live stream on your YouTube channel. Man, that was a big table full of fossil shark teeth, fish, vertebrate fossils, several other things. And I'm wondering, do you upload that as content on your channel when you're finished with the live stream?
I absolutely do. So
well, I'm going to give that live stream a recommendation. As soon as you get finished watching the Bird Talk show today, head over to Charleston Fossil Adventures and check out Ashby's live stream today. I'm serious. The table was as big as my desk, and it was covered with fossils he collected, hand collected, that were stacked deep. You've got to see it to believe it. But anyway, that was a source of amazement for me. For those of in the chat already, in the live stream, and those who will watch this on the replay that may not have caught last week's live stream here at the Bird Talk Show or seen you as a guest on previous live streams, Ashby, take just a minute and introduce yourself to the Bird Garden channel viewers.
Absolutely. So my name is Ashby Gale. I'm a paleontologist and the owner of a company called Charleston Fossil Adventures, where I lead guided tours for folks to come out in Charleston and find fossils of their own to keep and take home with them. We offer tours for all types of ages and abilities, from the most hardcore to those just wanting to do a quick walk on the beach.
Something for everyone over there at Charleston Fossil Adventures. You've got some merch. You've got some really cool merch. I'll let you talk about that in a minute. Also, different rates and lengths of trips, different modes of transportation once you get out there fossil hunting. So I think I mentioned this last week. Every one of your YouTube videos has a link to your website.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here's the thing to do if you want to show Ashby some love, and you do. He's kind enough to come back for a second week, and we do appreciate that, Ashby. And I want all the viewers to check out Charleston Fossil Adventures YouTube channel. There'll be a link in the description of this live stream once it's uploaded as a video content. And watch a few of the videos. They're very fun. They're exciting, always educational, even though I wouldn't say, Ashby, your style is instructional. You're very conversational, easy to watch and listen to. I enjoy all your videos. I think it's easy for me to recommend if you should happen to find yourself over at Ashby's YouTube channel. That's Charleston Fossil Adventures. You'll thank me later. Watch a few of the videos. Once you get there, you know what to do. Share some love, show some kindness, hit the like. If you've not subscribed and you find, I'd like to go on more beach adventures with this paleontologist, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when he does things like field trips. Sometimes he does live streams from the beach, and it's cool. He's walking along and says, "Oh, look at that." And he takes his camera down to the beach, and lo and behold, there's a nice fossil laying on the beach. He just stumped his toe on while you're watching. So do that. Do that for Ashby and for you. I think you're going to get something out of that. And I think that was a thin disguise as a call to action for the Bird Garden channel, too. Of course, if you haven't done those things here at the Bird Garden channel, we appreciate all of the clicks that matter in the digital universe. So thank you very much in advance for considering any of the clicks you may give the Bird Garden YouTube channel. Now, today, Ashby, we're going to continue our conversation from last week, which included you bird watching in the tropics, fish fossils, bird fossils, and we got right up to a gift you had received, a new pair of binoculars. We didn't even get to talk about them. That's mainly why you're back here today. So if you would, tell us about your new binoculars.
All right. So for Christmas this year, I asked my family to get me a set of binoculars, and my dad was kind enough to do some research into looking around for some different types. And
Your dad, he's a binocular man, right?
yes, he is. So he worked at Wild Birds Unlimited, as did I, for several years, and a naturalist store before that on Hilton Head Island, and would commonly sell binoculars to all different folks looking for different types of birding, whether they're just sitting in their armchair at home, maybe watching your channel, or those getting up on boats and going on 10-mile hikes to go check another one off of the life list.
Yep.
So he went down to the Complete Naturalist in Asheville, North Carolina.
Been there.
And great friends with the Mans that are the that's MAHAN that own the store. Good family friends, and so they recommended the Vortexes right here. It's an 8x42 binocular, and
okay, 8x42, so it's 8 times magnification, and the objective lens is 42 millimeters diameter. Yeah, decoding the code, 8x42.
And right off of the bat, the moment, well, one thing is it's a pretty nice size. I've got pretty average sized hands, and they're smaller than my hands. They fit comfortably. They've got these nice little thumb grips here on the underside of them, and
Yes.
yeah, they're very nice to hold. And since I wear glasses, I keep the eyepieces down, but my wife, who sometimes is not wearing glasses, what I would want to do is I would just twist the get in frame there, twist that up, and so then suddenly you've got a nice deep cup for if you're not wearing glasses, that you can use the binoculars that way.
Now that's a kind of a standard thing on nicer binoculars now, but I remember prior to the twist up eyepiece cups, it was a piece of rubber that extended, and you would fold it back
Yes.
onto the ocular end if you wore glasses, and then fold it forward and snap back, so it gave you that relief from your eyeball to the glass.
And so I think I must have been using a lot of outdated pairs of binoculars, because this was revolutionary technology to me. I thought this was just the coolest thing.
Cool. Yeah.
So cool. So glad to know I'm behind the times.
Well,
but
that's something you don't have to replace as often as you do a computer.
right. So I really enjoy that, because one thing with the rubber cups that you folded up and down, I was always concerned about the longevity of that, of these things are going to just suddenly tear off one day.
They have to have a lifespan, right?
Yeah. So I'm very happy with that. But right away, the first thing I noticed about these, the second that I looked through them, is just how clear they are, and just how much light these binoculars let in.
Good glass.
I was sitting on the couch in the living room, and it was nighttime, and we had 2 lights on in the room, and I looked at something over on the bookshelf. It looked like it was in the middle of the day. Not a sponsor. I'm not being paid by Vortex to
good point.
highly rate these.
Neither is the birdgarden channel.
I received them as a gift, and it's the best pair of binoculars I've ever used.
So I had the opportunity to visit the vortexoptics table at the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival, and they had all of their wares out. I mean, the whole table was covered with vortex optics, and I got to look through every one of them. And my takeaway is that Vortex, now I had done business with the parent company, Eagle Optics, so I can vouch for the customer service. They want to take care of the customer, which is phenomenal, in my opinion, for an international company. And as you said, when you look through them, the tail of the tape, I mean, your brain says, wow, that is bright and clear. And then when you get to the price tag, okay, I might be interested in this. They've got a good reputation. I've looked through them. Wow, that's great magnification. The price tag is a solid value. When you stack them up against more expensive models and brands, they stack up. And so then the question is quality build, longevity. Well, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, and your dad would probably know, Ashby, the firsthand accounts of users, the reviews, and how long they've been in the field, and they continue to be upgraded. Now, I'm guessing, well, I don't have to guess, the precursor to that pair of binoculars you have, they called the Eagle Optics Ranger. Well, they didn't have that nice little ergonomic thumb indention on the bottom of the tubes. Yeah, so they continue to upgrade as field. So once they send out one of their reps or someone who's giving them field feedback, they send their binoculars back in and they see worn spots on the bottom of that armor. It's like, oh, I think we could do something right here. This is what the field is telling us that's necessary. So they are an adaptive company. They sell at a value price. I wouldn't say cheap. You're not looking at a cheap set of binoculars. As a matter of fact, I would say they're kind of a specialized binocular from a specialty company. Maybe they're available at big box. I've never seen them there. But they do have great customer service, a big web presence. And you purchased yours from a mom and pop naturalist store in Asheville. Yeah, so they're available. You can get them on the street. You can get them online. Find that local shop that does optics and share some love in your community if you're looking for a good pair of binoculars. And also, I've never been to a purveyor of binoculars that wouldn't allow you, to take them outside and look through them. It's not a rugged field test, but you're out there in the elements and natural sunlight with trees and cars and buildings and things to look at, if not birds, and you get a really good idea of how you are receiving the binoculars. And it sounds to me like, Ashby, you were impressed the first time you looked through those binoculars.
Absolutely. I mean, I had a pair of binoculars, and I forget the brand, I forget the power of them, when I was a ranger at the state park on Edisto, and those were the most modern pair I'd had at that point, and those are pretty outdated still. And the clarity just is no match to these, and the weight as well. They're probably about twice as heavy as these, and so
important.
These also have a nice cushioned neck strap. It's very comfortable. You can adjust it to the height that you need with the buckles, and they do have the eye piece covers, and you can thread those in to the loop of the strap. You can thread that through right there as well, so that it stays on the strap.
Yeah, and I do that to every field pair of binoculars, and I'll tell you why. You only have to be in one rain in the field, and you recognize how important those are, because when you get the tiniest water droplet on your eyepiece, your view is obstructed. And that tiniest water droplet could be larger than the warbler you've worked hard to locate. And as easy and light as that is and rugged, it's this piece of pliable, rubberish plastic, and it hangs on your strap, and then where my hand, it folds over to cover immediately. You feel a drop of rain, boom, and then it's not. You can learn to do it in one motion as you lift your binoculars, flip with your finger. So it's not a big effort to remove that thing. So that's very handy, the eyepiece cover. If you're in the field all day, as I am often, it really comes in handy at lunch, and it keeps crumbs out of your eyepiece.
Yeah.
So that's neat. Yeah, they come with those. And I saw also it had the other end had a cover.
Yep. So these are nice. They just stay attached. So nice little ring that goes around there. It looks like it can be removed, but
It's like a friction fit. Yeah, no screws. It just kind of stretches over that. Yeah. Okay. Now that's important. Those might give you a little bit of difficulty in the wind.
Oh yeah.
Moving and even flapping against the binocular, it makes it harder to hold steady. So the trick there is to grip it with your thumbs, pull them back with your thumbs. Yeah, you're just going to alter your grip a little bit. That's all there is to that. But don't take them off. Don't remove them. Learn to use them that way, because that's the biggest piece of glass, the most expensive piece of glass in your binoculars that will last many lifetimes if properly cared for, not overused. And if you get a scratch, again, that could be right in the center of your field of view. And now everything's going to be distorted, foggy somehow, out of focus because of that scratch. So those are not only handy, I consider them essential.
Yeah.
And I have binoculars. I've got a pair right here just for demonstration purposes that have neither. And the reason is they're not field binoculars. These are indoor binoculars. I mean, I'm going to say this, trying to be as honest as I can. I don't think they've ever been outside the screen porch. I think I needed a pair of binoculars for a video, or maybe I just needed a pair of patio binoculars, because I have to leave my binoculars in my vehicle. And this goes back to my firefighter days. If the call comes in that there's a rare bird, I don't want to be the guy that chases it and gets there and forgot his binoculars. So my binoculars stay in my car. That's where my binoculars are. So to go out on the back porch and watch the bird garden 24/7 live feeding station, it was like as soon as you would sit down, you could see the birds at the feeder, but the birds that were staging all around the yard, you needed binoculars. Get up, go in, get the binoculars. So now as I tell the story, I recall. So these I bought just for basically patio bird watching, and they're camo because when I bought them, what do you call that? A compulsive buy. You know, there's no shopping. I knew this is my budget. This is what I'm looking for. I found it online, and the camo models were on sale, so they were cheaper. I didn't pay extra for that. I paid less for that.
Well, that's so the birds in your painting behind you can't see you looking at them.
The birds have no idea that I have binoculars right here. But that's why these don't have the protective covers, and you can see that that's got the twist up eye cup too. Yeah, and so just as Ashby and I talk about binoculars, I wanted to have a pointer. What about this piece on yours, Ashby? How's the mechanics?
It's very smooth. So of course,
Out of the box, right?
Out of the box. I mean, it seems like it's as smooth as it can be.
Versus these Nikons, stiff, and they
really?
they loosen up as their life goes on, and so what happens is you don't recognize when these get too loose. A good Southern term, we would say, wallered out. When this gets wallered out, then there's no friction stop, and as you turn to focus, you tend to always over focus in both directions because it just gets too free spinning. Now, better made, more expensive, you get what you pay for gearing, won't do that. You won't. I've got binoculars that will never happen to. I've got binoculars I know it will happen to, and I've got some it's already happened to. I won't give them away. So you don't want this. Do not spoil the world of magnification with these things.
Right.
Which is kind of sad because you work so hard to keep the glass in such good shape. They still magnify, but focusing, and I'm speaking about focusing on birds. Okay. I'm a self-proclaimed binocular expert because I've used binoculars so long and so often looking at birds. If you're looking at static objects, it's a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at a geologic formation that hasn't moved in a long time, those binoculars with the worn out mechanical operation machines and gears, they may be just fine. So understand that my frame of reference is watching birds. And Ashby, you sometimes have a very limited time once you've located the bird to
Yeah,
find it in your binoculars and focus on it.
absolutely.
They're there and gone sometimes before you can do that.
Yeah. And since I got these after my trip to the tropics, I was using my 300 millimeter telephoto lens on my Nikon to do all of my birding. And, at least you can be zoomed out so I can see the branch, and then you zoom in real quick and then just press the shutter button and focus. But it's not ideal. And
No.
these would be letting in a bit more light, even though my all glass telephoto lens was certainly letting in a good amount too.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. I took the liberty of showing one of your videos at the introduction of today's show, and it was when one of those tropical finches joined you for breakfast. Tell us about that again.
Yep. So that was from our breakfast. So we were in St. Lucia. There's their flag. We were we had our screen doors open because we're like up there in the tops of the trees. It was this treetop villa, and the one of the bullfinches had flown in to our breakfast. We had it was our one splurge night there, so the breakfast is catered in to you, and this was Christmas Day, and this bullfinch had flown on in, little female bullfinch, and looked around on our plate and decided out of grapefruit, out of cheese, out of bread, out of eggs and pancakes, she chose the egg, and that's what
Nice.
she ate in that video.
Oh, that's nice. Very nice. Well, we've got some comments in the chat, Ashby. Let's take a glance over here at the chat. Folks are saying hello. Hello to everyone. Canestio Valley Cichlids, welcome back. Levi's Q Aquatics is here. I love Susie. Welcome. Mr. Gates is here. Whip's World, Levi's Aquatics. BJ Palmer, thanks for moderating today, BJ. Great to see you. Mike's Aquatics and Things, hello. And I know I missed some. I'm just looking quickly. I saw a question over here about which bino harness would y'all use. I found some on Amazon for under $25. Well, I will tell you, I'm an old guy, right? I'm fragile. All of my field binoculars have harnesses. None of them have straps. Now, I guess, well, I'm an outlying case. I haven't put the strap on a pair of binoculars in a long time because I know I'm going to do the harness, because the harness takes the weight of the binocular off your neck and puts it on your shoulder. Now, there's a thing in bird watching called warbler neck. And it's like, man, you never want to tell somebody, I hope you never get warbler neck, because you get it from looking up at birds for too long, okay? So you're seeing birds. You hope everyone sees birds. And the unfortunate part, I guess, is if you're going to see a lot of birds, you're going to have to look up a lot of times. So that alleviates warbler neck for me, is to get the weight off of the strap. Strap is completely adequate. I've never worn a strap out, but as soon as I went to the harness, it relieved some tension on my neck. And I would say any harness for me is better than just a strap. And under $25, I mean, and they probably have some plastic and leather and elastic that moves the weight of the binocular off. Now, I'll say this: the one you're talking about on Amazon, I think I've seen. I probably have had a couple. They're great for bird watching. If you're going to multitask, now Ashby is a professional shark tooth finder on the beach. If he had that binocular with him and he were beach combing, it would be very difficult, as he looks down more often than he looks up. Those binoculars would be swinging in his field of view, and he would be looking down more often than he would be looking at that beautiful egret flying across the water. So some harnesses are not only the straps that move the weight to your shoulder, but they also will keep the binocular strapped to your chest. And then they can do that with Velcro or with elastic, but it keeps the binocular from getting in your field of view while you're looking down. That harness is multi-purpose, a little bit overkill for me, although every time I go to the beach, which is a couple of times a year, I wish I had it. So the harness is great, a great accessory for a pair of binoculars. And again, it all depends on how you use them. I've been in the field with birders that are better than I am that use the strap, but they strap it on their shoulder, and they're going up from the side, like it's more of a holster than a neck strap. So different strokes for different folks. What have you got there, Ashby?
So the Vortex also
sent
this nice case, and
it came with the binoculars.
Yeah, with the binoculars.
Okay.
It has like quick release, so they can fit right in there. But the neat thing about the case is that it has buckles and clips for its own harness. So you can have it harnessed and then flip it up and pull out your binoculars.
Now, I'm going to say that's the mark of a quality pair of binoculars. Not all binoculars are packaged that way.
And it's nice too because it has this nice little mesh pocket on the back that you can keep a lens cleaning wipe in.
Very important.
And, we're talking about warbler neck or gooseneck, and in fossiling we call it the fossiler's stoop, where you get hunched over because you're looking down all the time. And then you talking about the sling style of wearing your strap. I do photography as well, so I've got a neck strap, and you got a 1.5 pound lens attached to a full digital SLR strung over. And so like you do the same thing. You're either wearing it around your neck or slung over the shoulder. Mm-hmm. And so I think I've got it figured out because I'll look down to go fossiling and then I'll look up to go birding. So I'm counteracting the two.
Well, for Christmas, not this past Christmas, but Christmas last year before last, I bought my wife a hip sling for her cameras, and it's kind of a half-turn lock. It won't fall off, but it hangs on your hip. Then when you pull it up, so it's attached. It's just not putting weight anywhere. Your hips are bearing the load of the camera, and as long as you're not walking through narrow trails, that's a pretty cool deal right there. I've used it and I like it a lot. But back to binoculars. Are you going to give us a price range on those? That's a gift. That I don't know if I can talk about price of other ones if you're not comfortable.
I'll let you talk about prices of others because since it's a gift, I haven't looked up the price.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna guess, and I stand to be corrected. You haven't even mentioned the actual nomenclature, but I would say I would value. This may or may not be related to price, but I would value that pair of binoculars between $300 and $500.
Okay.
If I saw a price tag of $399 on those binoculars, I would say, yeah, that's perfectly within range, and still a value for the quality you get. Now that bag alone, if you bought a bag with those appointments on it, yep, that's a quality build. You're going to spend $50 for that. That's a lot of sewing.
Yeah.
And what Vortex knows is that that's precious cargo inside there. It matters how that thing's built.
And it is padded too, all the way around.
Mm-hmm. And so the companies that aren't really, they don't really care about the field worthiness of their gear. They'll sell you a less quality product for more money, and then you have to buy the accessories, and then you're wanting to cut corners, so you buy the less expensive accessory, and you get yourself into another trap. That to say, Vortex is tried and true. I mean, you do your own research, of course, but you'll find that people who use that product are very happy with it. And I've looked through them. I can testify to the quality of the glass. I haven't owned a Vortex product. I owned the Eagle Optics products,
right,
which they were not only were there no complaints with Eagle Optics, they they were always, even though they were a value purchase, well under $1,000, they were always mentioned with the high-end binoculars, which include Swarovski, Leica, Bausch and Lomb used to make a quality binocular, Zeiss. So I mean, you're talking thousands of dollars. So then to hear Vortex mentioned in that conversation is, now you're dividing by a larger number than you would imagine. Divide by 3, divide by 4, and it's like, wow, am I gonna get 4 times better binocular?
Right.
Because I'm paying 4 times more? And the answer is no. No, you're not. It is an upgrade. I mean, they spend more time grinding the glass, polishing the glass, coating the glass, more expensive coatings to give you a sharper image. So when you're ready to upgrade and you want a sharper image for whatever reason, you're getting old and you need a sharper image. You just have seen the sharper image and it's like, I prefer the sharper image and it fits my budget. I can afford it. But hey, listen, I always say buy the best you can be happy with. Don't go in debt. Don't take a second mortgage on your home. But buy the best you can be happy with. And a lot of times that $300 to $500 range is just the sweet spot. Okay. So there's a clue. Most of the bird watchers that I know, having birded all over the world, many parts of the world anyway, that $300 to $500 binocular range is where they end up. That's home base. They work up to it. They want to buy less than $100 pair of binoculars, learn how to handle them, how to take care of them, how to use them. Then they trust themselves with an upgrade. And typically the upgrade is to 300. This is about the $300 range. Nothing special, nothing fancy. It's a Nikon, great glass, wonderful magnification, going to do the job, comfortable in the hand. I don't know if you can see the ergonomic indentions in this one or not, but they care about how these are used in the field also. They're mass produced. They're coming down the line. So $300 for a very adequate roof prism, straight tube, lightweight binocular. This one happens to be 10 by 42. 10 power magnification, 42. I think that's the same as yours, 42.
Yeah, 42.
Yeah. So $300, good next stop, going up from less than 100 to 300. Then from this Nikon non-specialty, they call this one the Pro Staff 7. I think I first bought it as the Monarch. I've had several pairs of the Nikon Monarch. Then I would declare that from the Nikon Pro Staff 7S, you go up to the Vortex. So what's the nomenclature on yours, Ashby? Does it say there?
Mine are the Diamondback HD, and it's the 8 by 42.
Okay, Diamondback HD. So they're definitely ruggedized. I would say they're not waterproof, but water resistant. Rain, you keep them out of the heavy rain shower, you're going to be fine. Don't drop them in the water. Please don't drop them in the water. Use whatever strap you end up with, use it. I haven't done it, but I know how broken my heart would be if I ever did.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, what's your favorite bird you've seen through your new binoculars?
Oh man, so like I really haven't had like a nice time to take them out just yet between all of the home renovations and the tours that I've been doing. But I'll default to the latest 2 that excited me on my trip that I took 2 days ago out here in Charleston. I saw 2 of our northern migrants that come down here. We got the white pelican.
Oh yeah.
And the glossy ibis.
Well, both very cool birds, and I'll say that the white pelican is majestic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I've ever seen a single one. They travel in flocks.
Yep, I just saw a single one.
That's
that
awesome.
Yeah.
So it's a huge wingspan of
Mhm.
solid white with black wingtips. And you're like, wow, what was that?
Yeah. It's
Yeah. Okay.
really
So,
cool.
and you saw that through your new binoculars. So you were looking up and the sky was your background?
He was actually just sitting on the water. So
Okay.
we
So
were
he's
coming
in the
around the
water.
corner of the tidal creek in the boat, and it was sitting there on the just in the tidal creek.
Okay. So when you're looking at a bird on the water, one thing that will test your optics quality is the reflection of light from the water. So how did your binoculars perform?
I didn't. It was really nice. This was probably about 3:30 in the afternoon, so we're still pretty low angle light
Mhm,
that
mhm.
early in the afternoon. Um, but yeah, he was just clear as day.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And also, sometimes light will get in the side, your peripheral vision, and make a reflection on your eyepiece there.
yeah. It's. I mean, of course, for me, having glasses and having to, I can't
Mhm.
really get it seated around my eyes as well. That's always something that I just have to be aware of.
Well, one way that they make hoods that basically are blinders on the sides. But one
Right.
way I've dealt with that is just with my thumb. The thumb width usually can block that light that's coming in from your peripheral and not it won't have a glare on your eyepiece or it won't be blinding to your eye with just that thumb. If it's really bad, you can use your entire hand and still get a little bit of support.
Right.
And speaking of support, I wanted to mention um, when you hold the binoculars and you look through them, it's very common to spread your wings like you want to fly. That's like the natural go-to position. Like if you looked up an icon for a person looking through binoculars, it's this posture. Well, you're only going to be able to hold that posture for a little while. As a matter of fact, it'd be good exercise. Time yourself and try to increase that every day. But when you're in the bird for 9, 10, 11 hours all day in the bird, in the field looking for birds, hours, you get fatigue and muscle failure and you can't look anymore. So, yeah, you got to, Ashby, the tuck, which is not natural. It's like a golf swing. No one does this naturally. But once you learn to do that, then the weight is shifted to being born just the way your arm hangs on the side of your body. You're not having to use muscular force to hold it. And you can look at birds a lot longer and hold the binoculars a lot steadier, which is important once you look through binoculars. If you haven't, the least movement, even the wind blowing, causes that magnified field of view to jump all over the place. So you want a good
Mhm.
foundation. You want to hold those binoculars steady. The thumb indentions on the bottom of Ashby's let you know, yeah, I got that right. And then you got your hand on the top of your binoculars with one finger or the other. I don't usually use both, one or the other as the steering wheel. And from this position, the tuck, that's how you want to view through your binoculars. More stable and more sustainable when you do that. Now, I mentioned the focus. Always focus. You figure out quickly just by trial and error if you're getting it closer or farther away from focus. So your direction is determined. And then once you go in the correct direction, I always go too far. Go a little too far and then go back a little bit too far. And somehow your brain and your finger and your hand eye coordination, you recognize that's the range, the focal range. And then you can stay within that focal range to fine tune. So too far, and then it's easier to center. For me, that's how I do it. That way, you also know if you've captured the best focus. If you just get quote in focus and stop, you don't know if there were more in focus that you were leaving on the table, so to speak. So that's true of any binocular. All
Mhm.
right. Now, having said that, is that a technique that you share with me, Ashby, or do you do it differently?
Yeah, no, that's pretty similar to how I do it. I've tried to ingrain in my mind that when I turn the wheel to the right, I guess to the left on this broadcast, it is coming. It's for up close items, and when I go to the left, it's for far away. And
Yeah,
so
and
I try and look and say, that's more than 20 feet, so I need to really be pushing this wheel to the left. And I do exactly what you said about going past focus and then going past and then recentering. And the funny thing is, when I took the photos for my field guide using a manual macro lens, I did the same exact thing. Uh, Pass both ways, and then you find what's the clearest.
yeah, so that's good to know that you do that also. And now we've shared a technique that we found success with. If it works for you out there, great. If not, leave a comment and tell us how you do it, because I'm definitely open to new suggestions. I'm not limited by this way or no way. As a matter of fact, you've heard on this channel so many times, we're going to bring the information and put it on the buffet of options. If you like it, come and get some, get enough to share, bring people in, say this is where it's at. If you don't like it, don't spit on it. Just move on by. You don't have to take it. It's just on the buffet of options. It may be what the next guy's been looking for. So don't just move along. Move along if you don't want it. Find something you do. We're going to keep putting it out there. And this is great information on binoculars. Conversations I wish I would have had with someone with a lot of experience before I spent years cultivating the habits and the techniques. And so whenever I try to explain to somebody left or right, close, it's a mirror image, and this adds to confusion. So, I don't even talk to myself that way. Instinctively, I know it's not a conscious decision. I just start turning the wheel, and it's always different because I don't guess I've ever seen two birds that were exactly the same distance from the last one. So there's always movement, and that's why it's important you get good gearing, good machines in your binoculars, and that's why you pay hundreds of dollars instead of tens of dollars. And it's okay if you buy an inexpensive pair of binoculars and you wear them out. I've done that many times, and each
And
time I feel like I've gotten my money's worth. I never regretted, well, I should have just bought a better pair in the first place. I've always been a bit frugal, even, what's the best value for me right now? So, that said, here's my number one recommendation when shopping for binoculars. Um, if you're fortunate enough to receive them as a gift, good for you. That's the best way to get a new pair of binoculars. If you're not having been gifted a pair of binoculars, you're going to have to buy them. Determine your budget first. What is your budget? And weeks ago, before Ashby and I started talking about his new binoculars, I made a recommendation of the very inexpensive Nikon, less than $100. The last pair I bought were $59, less than $60. And I've also said I've worn a bunch of those out. But that's quality glass, 7x35, Poro prism. You're going to get a sharp image if you buy some binoculars at big box stores. I don't even know why they're legal to sell. They just won't focus. They're not clear. That Nikon is an excellent entry. It will give you a clear image. You'll know what a clear image looks like. And at the times that I bought those $50 and $60 pair of binoculars, that's what I was very comfortable with spending. And I would rather wear out 3 pair of those than to save what would have taken the equivalent of 6 pairs of those to buy a $300 pair of binoculars and not had binoculars for that period of time. So number one is determine your budget and then shop within your budget. And that's where live streams like this, an experience like Ashby's and mine, can come in really handy. Hey, I've got this much money. What do you recommend? And I'm not sponsored, and I'm not taking any money from any binocular company, but I've looked through a lot of binoculars, and I can give you a list of 3 to 5. In this budget, look at these. And anytime you have an opportunity to compare vendors, and these birding festivals, they all show up. Every optic that matters is there, and you can go from table to table to table. And sometimes the aha is not the quality of the view. It's the, oh, this one has thumb indentions. This one feels good in my hand. Sometimes it's that field bag is better than that field bag. Maybe you had an issue with the field bag. Maybe your field bag is too bulky. It's too stiff. It only has a shoulder strap. You know the image you're going to get. You know what you need to see at some point. It's not about having the best or the biggest or the most expensive or the upgrade, however you want to say it. It's about lifestyle. How does this fit? This is going to be pretty rugged. I bang my binoculars around pretty good. I'm not expecting them to last a lifetime, obviously. So I'm not gonna spend thousands of dollars that you can spend on one pair, knowing that I'm going to brutalize them, and the upgraded image, just doesn't work. So all of that said, I hope you heard. It's a nice world to dig into, do a deep dive, talk to other people about their experience, and make your decision after you've made your budget limit, whatever your budget limit is. Then find out what people are talking about. Now, you mentioned, Ashby, those are the Diamondback models.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were talking to the vendor at the Vortex table at a birding show, and you told him, here's what I'm going to do, here's how rugged I'm going to treat these things, here's what I need to look at. He said, well, I've got this Diamondback here, or I've got this ultralight over here, or I've got this close focusing set. If you're into butterflies, you're going to want to look. So all of these options, all after you determine your budget or you receive a gift.
Right.
So now that brought up another question, Ashby. Do you know the close focus range of those binoculars?
I don't, but I broached that this morning when I was playing around with them. My cat was in a cat bed sleeping at the other end of the living room, and I focused on him, and then I decided to focus on something on the wall, piece of art on the wall, and it was probably 8 feet away,
Okay.
maybe just under 8 feet, and I wasn't able to. I hit the end of the focus range on the knob, and so
Okay. So
no,
you didn't get focus.
no, it was not able to. I had to walk backwards to get that piece of art in focus.
Okay. I'm trying to look up now the focal range, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was 15 feet, because that's very common. And beyond that, if you're going to get closer than that, okay, they claim a minimum focus distance of 5 feet.
Okay.
And that could be under optimum conditions with a measured eye relief that you don't have access to because of your glasses. So that means that it's still more than 3 feet.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're going to buy butterfly binoculars, you want to go for 3 feet. So now you eliminate all the options that are more than 3 feet. And I'll tell you this, when you start getting close focus ranges, you're getting into better binoculars. Okay. I know these have got to be at least 8 feet. They're 8 to 15 feet. Those are at least laboratory measured at 5 feet, whether it's your experience or not. It's like MPG.
Yep.
But all the optics companies are using the same techniques to get that as short as possible, because it recognizes that the higher quality glass is required to get that close focusing. So someone's put in chat over here that they were able to locate that nomenclature for $250 plus tax and shipping. Okay, holy cow! I'm gonna endorse that binocular at that price. And I know Vortex has great customer service. Cabela's, as far as I know, they have a good reputation. If you're not happy, you can do some send back exchanges, whatever. I would say this before you buy that binocular, go to the Vortex website and read about it and compare some of their other lines. I think that Diamondback is really ruggedized. It's really tough. Does that feel like an armor, a rubberized armor around
Oh
the?
yeah, yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely water resistant.
And it does have some good grip support on the side.
Yeah, and that's a roof prism, a straight tube. So that's the lightest design. Yeah, and you already mentioned that it's not too heavy. Smooth gears, 8
Yep.
power magnification, not hard to hold steady. And now with the trick Ashby and I showed you, that 8 power, you're going to be as solid as a rock. Don't start out with 10 power. Use if it's your first pair of binoculars, get 7 or 8 power. Okay, it's not. You're not going to miss a lot. I like a 10 power these days, but I'm at the peak of my 10 power use. I'm going to start going back down because I'm not as steady as I used to be. And so that micro vibration we were talking about is a lot more prominent in a 10 power binocular than it is an 8. So I'm going all the way up to 10. I don't recommend anything above 10. I'm on my way back down. If you're starting out, start out 7 or 8. You're going to get the clarity. You're going to see the bird. You're going to be able to identify whatever you're looking at. It's just going to be easier to find because the field of view is bigger while you're getting that idea down, finding what you're looking at. And it's going to be easier to hold steady. And so then the next upgrade for you might then be an increased power of magnification. Now, on that, the big tip, we got to tell them this, Ashby, because the world of magnification is a beautiful world. We want you to enjoy it. So we're giving you all the tips and benefits of our experience, the experience of our fathers and their fathers. So when you see something in the field you want to see magnified, it's a bird, right? Okay, and I'm going to, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to say there's a bird right there that I want to look at. So here's what's going to happen. I look at the bird, there he is, and I bring my binoculars up. Okay. Now what I did there, and I'll do it again. Oh, there's that bird. Oh, wow, that's a great bird. What I didn't do, oh, there's a bird over there. Let me get my binoculars. And so the difference is I've got eye contact with the bird, and I'm bringing my binoculars up to intersect that eye contact. I'm not taking my eye off of what I want to magnify. And then guaranteed, once you get your binoculars in the way, it's going to be in the field of view. Now it's just up to focusing. Now, alternatively, if you look at your binoculars and raise them up, you're going to get seasick. That's what's going to happen. And you're not going to see anything that you want to look at. Is that your technique that you share with me there, Ashby?
Yeah, that's perfect. I suffer from benign positional paroxysmal vertigo, so I especially don't want to be looking through these things when I swing them up, because I'm going to be riding the tilt-a-hurl express there and not seeing any birds over the side of the boat.
Ruin your whole birding trip.
Yeah. You're touching on something that made me think of something, and now I can't remember it. One thing was talking about budget, and my mom also got a pair of these for Christmas because the pair of binoculars, like your Nikons, that lived indoors in the house for them to look at birds on the feeder, was quite literally a $5 pair of binoculars that we got at a yard sale 20 years ago. And it just was the pair of binoculars, big ones that flared out. They were clunky metal, not nice at all. But now she has a pair of these, and it's like her world has changed.
Yeah, and I remember that first pair of Nikons was the first real pair of binoculars I had, and I swear I think I heard angels sing. There was light, there was clarity. I'm like, it was supposed to have been like this all along. Who knew?
Right.
Yeah, and some of those more popular brands, I swear, I don't know how they survive selling that, and I'll just call it what it is, crap. I mean, yeah, it's bigger, but it's also blurrier, and I can't tell what color it is. And oftentimes these things have to be, there's a stereo going on here, okay? If any of the mirrors in here get out of line, then what happens is you look through them and your eyes have to do gymnastics to focus. And after a while, you're going to get a headache. The brain compensates, and you'll know if your binoculars are out of line if you look through them and then you look above them. And if you get that vertigo real bad, if you have to readjust, then you know your binoculars aren't in line, that your eyes were doing something they weren't naturally supposed to do to compensate, and then they're readjusting once you're not looking through your binoculars anymore. Then that's where customer service comes in. I dropped my binoculars. The prisms are out of sync. They're out of alignment. I can't align these things. I guess I'll throw them away. No, that's why you buy a brand that has known and trusted customer service, a physical address in the United States, preferably. Send them, put them in a box, package them real nice, send them right back. Let them take them to the lab, readjust them, send them back to you. And I will tell you, depending usually on how much they cost to begin with, that will be a free service or there will be a charge for it. But either way, once you get into that $300 arena, it's cheaper than buying a new pair. So I hope you never have to experience that, Ashby. But if you do, I think Vortex is a great company.
Yeah, I hope I don't either. Sadly, one thing that happened to my Nikon on my trip to St. Lucia, right after I was at that treetop villa with the fruit bats and the possums and the gray trembler, my camera started giving me an error message. And so I now have the pleasure of sending off my professional line digital SLR straight back to Nikon to get it serviced.
Well, good luck with that. I hope everything works out. I've sent several pairs of binoculars back to Nikon and been able to get lots of situations straightened out. I did share in a previous edition of this show one pair of binoculars. It was a Nikon that had a 7x15 telescoping magnification ring, which had a purpose. They never were crystal clear at any magnification, but I could go from 7 to 15 power. I could get focused at 7, which was easy, and then crank it up and then readjust the fine tuning. Great for water birds, ducks, way out there. I used it so often, basically I sawed the eyepiece off. And so I sent it to Nikon. They said it was a new one on them. They never seen that. It's definitely irreparable. And they had discontinued that just didn't catch on. It wasn't a big seller by then. So they gave me a credit on a new pair of Nikons. So customer service is great. Vortex definitely has it. I recommend Vortex. Those very binoculars that Ashby has, given to him by his dad, who was a lifelong naturalist, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Yeah, he got those for Ashby. And I just looked at the clock. Time flies. We've been doing this for an hour, Ashby. We're going to have to shut her down here. And on the way out, I want to say thanks to everyone in chat. If you're watching the replay, thank you for being here. Please do leave us a comment with your questions. We'll be happy to answer those. Thanks for watching. We appreciate that. Do go check out Charleston Fossil Adventures YouTube channel. There'll be a link in the description of this video. Check out some of Ashby's content. You'll be glad you did. And thanks for participating in the chat. I'm looking. Yeah, you guys are fantastic. Lots of takeaways. Ashby, thanks for being here. People learn things.
Yeah,
people learn things. Wow, that is fantastic.
And I did. I saw the comment last week about someone wanting me to wear a red bow tie, so I wore the red bow tie today to pay
Looks
homage
marvelous,
to the
by the way.
The what?
It looks marvelous, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I have the greatest viewers in the world, so thank you very much for heeding the request for the red bow tie. Also, there was a comment last week of someone saying that they purchased the binoculars I recommended, the less than $100 Nikon, which is the only binocular I will ever recommend at that price point. That's the only one. There are no others. Don't waste your money.
Bow ties are cool.
Now, as we say goodbye, I did bring a copy of your book to mention. Ashby is not only a bird watching, fossil finding, world traveling, friendly bow tie wearing gentleman, he's also an author. And he's written this book, A Beachcomber's Guide to Fossils, with his mom and dad. It's a huge volume, over 500 pages, well written, beautiful photographs. Ashby took all the photographs, and the price is less than $30. So be sure you check this out. I'm going to let you say a few words on this in closing, Ashby.
All right. So yeah, again, this was a project that me and my parents worked on for 6 years to publish through the University of Georgia Press. It is applicable to people beachcombing in Texas, all the way down to Florida, all the way up to New Jersey, which great shorelines for birding, also great shorelines for fossil hunting. So we cover a lot of those. There's over 325 fossils in here, including bird fossils. And we talk about different lineages of animals as well. Great photos, illustrations from my mom, fun facts that she wrote on the bottom of each page, like what do a sturgeon and a vacuum cleaner have in common? And you'll have to buy the book to find that one out. But really user-friendly guide. We made sure it was not too technical. Even if you're just looking at the photos, you're going to learn a lot.
Excellent. Ashby, I'm going to take you off the screen now, and I'll see you back in the green room. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks, guys. Good seeing everyone.
Ashby Gale, my friend and yours. So glad to have that paleontologist as a return guest here on the Bird Talk Show. I know that you had a great time visiting with Ashby, as did I. We will definitely try to get him on a next edition. And speaking of, next week we are going to spend some time at the bird feeding station right here at the Bird Garden YouTube channel. We're going to go out there and see what's happening. It's been especially busy these last few mornings with the cold weather moving through. We've got blue jays, red-headed woodpeckers. Today I saw the white-breasted nuthatch first time in a few days, white-crowned sparrows. Always something cool going on out there. Next week, I promise, I'm going to take you out there live. We're going to see what's going on at the bird feeding station here at the Bird Garden YouTube channel. Thanks for doing all of those clicks that help the channel grow and make us seem relevant to the algorithm. If you haven't hit the like button yet, you've been here for a while, you've made it to the very end, don't forget to do that on your way out. I'm glad you stopped by. If you're a first-time visitor and you liked what you saw, we're going to keep doing it just like this. Come on back anytime. We're glad to have you. If it's not your cup of tea, thanks for stopping by. Maybe you'll change your mind in the future. Our paths will cross again. Until then, why don't you get out there and see some birds?